Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the Appalachian Alliance. I am your co-host, Tom Reiser. With me is Mr. Mitchell Church. How are you, Mr. Church?
I'm doing okay. How you doing, Tom?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. We got some brouhaha happening in the background here.
Yeah,
we're just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
It's the Popo.
5-0.
Maybe... Are they coming to take us away?
I hope not.
Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho. I had that tape back in the day. The one, where you could order it off of the TV and it had all of the, different, parody songs or what have you, right? It's coming to take me away. It's episode 10. My enemies are plotting.
Yeah.
Big enemies are plotting.
Big episode for Star.
Yeah.
Gets to break out in rap and
right.
And just the production of this episode, the screenshots and the slow motion cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, they've really bumped it up this season. I think this season is kind of a revival of Survivor. Like how it used to harken back to the old days. Granted, they didn't use slow motion a lot back in the day, but.
Well, it's camera limitations.
Yeah.
A lot of it's camera limitations, and, it is what it is. And as cameras start to evolve, there's, there's more things you can do with them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look what we're doing. I have, 2 iPhones and an iPad in the woods.
Yep.
And there we are.
Appalachia, baby.
Yeah, right here in the woods, y'all.
So we get back from tribal. David is gone.
Yep.
Mary is
at
here
the bottom
we go
again.
On the bottom again.
I'm at the bottom again, she says. And Eva just straight tells that she'll tell Mary if it's her, but she's not playing the idol on it.
Yeah. And I think the four strong alliance, the Shaheen, Kyle, Joe, and Eva, they are simply doing jury management at this point.
Yeah.
And we see it later on in the episode with Joe and Mary.
And listen, to me this was a very underwhelming episode.
Yes.
I had high hopes.
I had high hopes that Star and the ragtag team could get together, do 4-on-4, deadlock, go to rocks, make somebody flip. That's a game-winning strategy.
Right.
Sadly, it did not pan out that way.
And I was pumped when Mary was like, the revolution will be begun. Televised.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yes, finally.
Let's go.
Yeah. This is something that other players have talked about. Let's play the game.
Yeah.
And it's finally like, okay, let's play the game.
Yeah. There's 4 on each side.
Yep.
And so,
But of course,
whatever.
Things don't go the way you want on Survivor.
Yeah, right.
Which is what makes the game great.
Star says, we have spirit, and spirit goes a long way, but not all of them had spirit.
No.
Okay?
No. The controversy, I believe, Mitch couldn't work with them because they wrote his name down. Mitch, get over it, man. It's a game, man.
It's a game, and
the enemy of my enemy could be my friend tomorrow. My enemy could be my friend tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Mitch kind of botched the whole dream team of 4-on-4, let's go to rocks.
Right.
Yeah,
and they possibly could have switched somebody had they forced the issue.
Kyle would have flipped.
Kyle would have flipped.
And then his game would have been blown up.
Yeah.
But they would have been in the majority, and they could have run the game.
Yeah.
But
and Star is doing all the work. She's trying to make this thing happen, and she calls it the revolution, right?
Yeah.
She's trying to bring Mitch into the revolution, and Mitch right away isn't too into it because Star wrote his name, like you said.
Yeah.
And so now Kyle, after this challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and I was pumped for this challenge for this reward.
Yes.
Right? Because this was a real reward.
Yes.
It wasn't just going to the sanctuary.
Yes.
They were going to another island and via boat.
Yeah. Yeah. And shout out to Shaheen for Chicken and Waffles. Shaheen and Star amping up the Chicken and Waffles song. That was just great.
Yeah. They're savory. They're sweet. They're what you want to eat, right?
Yeah.
Which
and Star in the back
you know,
going, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Just, I love seeing players having fun. But it's the comfortable players.
Right.
And Star who are having fun.
But Star's having fun whether she's comfortable or not.
Exactly.
Which, is very sad to me because spoilers, I won't go into that yet. So this is the holding the rope and holding the making the
stacking the blocks that spell immunity.
Right? And
classic challenge.
It goes back and forth.
Constantly.
And I thought Shaheen was going to go right through this and be the man.
Yeah.
And not fall once.
Yeah.
Because he was very, very careful.
Yes.
But in this challenge, you one little movement.
One movement is all. And poor Shaheen, he worked so hard.
Yeah.
And he got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter.
Shout out Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shaheen, he was solid. Even Jeff was joking. I had to check and see if Shaheen is moving, and he is in fact moving.
He is in fact moving.
Yeah.
I promise you, Shaheen is moving.
Yeah.
And
that's good stuff.
Kyle wins. He pulls out the win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times he dropped, like 8 times.
Yeah, and he did fast, too, man. He went very quickly.
But he figured out something that worked in the end, right? So that's all that matters. So Kyle picks Eva first.
Which is odd.
And we find out why, though, right? I thought, Eva? Why is he picking Eva? I don't understand. I really don't understand. And then Kyle picks Camilla, which
makes sense.
It made sense. And I'm like, well, maybe Kyle is trying to bring Eva into something else, right?
Yeah.
And then he picks Shaheen last. And you hear choruses of no freaking way, right, as they're leaving. And Mitch is just like
devastated.
Yeah, he's like, I'm disappointed in Kyle, right?
Yeah. Well, he thought him and Kyle were bros, and then And again, these, when every time Jeff says pick one more name,
right,
that is revealing gameplay.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
Kyle
pecking order.
Even says, I picked strategically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was masterful.
It was.
It was masterful, and it almost worked. Now, they had beers on the boat, which is very old school.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they were saying, no freaking way, was that there was beers on the boat. And that's very old school, right? I can't remember who it was that got just plastered on the boat and couldn't get out of the boat. Now, this was like 15 seasons ago, right?
Yeah, we'll have to
and
insert
I can't
that
remember.
clip or
Yeah, I'll find it.
They got trashed.
Oh, it was the truck driver guy.
Yeah.
The truck driver. I can't remember his name, but he had 3 beers before they even made it to the other island.
Yeah, and he was hammered.
And he was hammered because you don't have anything on your stomach on Survivor.
No.
Okay.
See, and that's the last thing I'd do is drink beer.
Yeah,
I'd get drunk and my mouth would. Yeah.
Just a little sippy, right? And not even an eighth of a beer, right? Yeah. No, I'm not drinking any more than that.
But we get to the reward, and Eva's very confident.
Yeah,
she's very confident,
Yeah. I'm unconcerned with the next few votes.
Exactly, yeah. They're just riding it out to 4 while they're lying to Camilla and Mitch about 6, which they possibly could be the 6.
Right.
But, I mean, Camilla and Mitch and Star and Mary, why didn't you band together? I mean, come on. That's
Mitch.
4-on-4.
It was Mitch.
Yeah, it's Mitch.
The other 3 were ready.
Yeah,
they
Mitch
were ready to go.
Wink in that chain. The leak wink in that chain, man.
Weak link.
Yeah, weak link. I can't talk today. So
there you go. So so Joe was upset, but he thinks Kyle did it to have him babysit.
Yes,
which. It worked.
Possibly true.
I
think Kyle is solely focusing on his solo. I think Kyle's in the forerun to win this game.
him
Kyle's
or Camilla.
They're both. Yes,
if either of them get to the end and explain how they got there.
Yes, that's the only strategy this season.
That's
other than we're going to bro out and Hulk out and
right, yeah, and we're just going to strong arm this whole season.
We'll make it to Final Four.
Yeah,
you got a snake in the grass, and it's Kyle, and he's playing the game, and Camilla's playing too.
Yeah, and now Mitch is thinking about flipping.
Yeah,
and I wrote down here Kyle's plan may work.
Yep,
and had it worked,
it would have been an epic tribal.
It would have been epic in every way. Now, whether it failed, that's inconsequential, right?
Yeah. And Mitch even says, like, you say, like, you're probably at home saying, Mitch, why don't you work with him? He says, I can't work with people I don't trust. Mitch, it's Survivor. You have to work with people you don't trust. You have to.
So
might be for one vote. But get the one vote done and then go back to your plan.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's voting blocks.
Yes,
that's the way this thing works these days.
Yeah.
So we had a regular what's the word I'm thinking? Reward challenge.
Yes. We had a regular reward challenge.
Now, what was that? I can't even remember.
The regular reward challenge
because I got ahead of myself.
Because they had the regular reward challenge was they had a ball, a buoy. They had to crawl on their hands, their belly in their hands.
That's
they had
why
to crawl
I blocked
over
this
the
out.
Sand.
Because I hate that challenge.
Yeah, my wife said that's the
worst challenge.
My wife says that challenge is a disadvantage to any woman that has big boobs.
Yeah, well, and
rightfully so.
Man,
but
so that's what we totally screwed up the order of the challenges here, folks. I'm sorry.
But it's okay, folks.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. But, yeah, they had that challenge.
Yeah, that challenge. Then we go into the immunity challenge.
Yeah,
so
Kyle won that challenge, and then Joe won immunity.
Right. That's what
Joe's
happened.
won 3 immunities.
See, I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I was in a hurry, and I have.
It's okay.
I've let everybody down.
No, you haven't. So we had reward challenge.
So we had a reward challenge to drag through the sand garbage.
Then we toss the rings, and then we had the immunity. Yeah,
right.
And Joe won immunity.
Yeah.
I believe it's his third win in a row, or not in a row, but his third immunity.
And you mentioned the slow-mo.
Oh, the bee
with the flies
and
the bees,
man. And Joe
around
just
his head.
had that concentration. I couldn't have done that, man.
He was laser focused, and the heartbeat, right?
Yeah,
and Joe wins. Shaheen says that was so much harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah. And Joe says, for all you dads out there, this is your challenge. And that's so true, man.
This is it. For any dad who absolutely cannot wake the sleeping giant.
Yeah.
We've all been there where the kid is finally asleep. Oh my God!
Yeah.
And if you knock something off of a table, if you stub your toe and holler out,
that's when
it's another 4 hours of trying to get a kid to sleep.
That's when you step on a Lego and your life goes to crap for the next 3 hours because you're up with them again.
Right?
Yeah, Joe.
It's your wife's kind of giving you that eye. Hey,
let's go to bed.
You get that kid to sleep.
Yeah. As Hank Hill says,
it might be
Drag's a rerun tonight, Peggy.
So and then you wake the kid and nobody's getting nothing.
No cookie.
No, not at all.
No.
So
after the immunity challenge,
Star says you can't start a revolution with people who are scared.
Yep, and that's
Weak.
true. That's true.
Weak.
Here's their problem.
I agree.
Here's their problem. They should have done this 3 episodes ago.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about that.
They should have, because now the 4, they're locked in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's over.
Yeah.
This is over. And, Mary and Star knows it's one of them. They're voting for each other.
They even tell each other.
Yeah. Yeah, they talk about it.
And I even asked Melinda, my wife, I said, what if they vote for each other and it's still a deadlock?
Right.
That's a way it could do it. They could be in deadlock over the 4, and that's a possibility that nobody even thought about.
Right, because Kyle and Camilla are working together.
Exactly.
They could have voted together.
Yes.
And,
they could have went to deadlock, we're at deadlock, and then re-voted.
Right.
And then maybe someone could have flipped then.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or if they went to deadlock again, then those two are immune.
Well, and then the two are immune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. So,
right.
But this episode had so much possibilities, and it just, I'm sorry, but it kind of let me down a little bit.
I was very let down.
I was.
I was not let down with Star's hit song,
No.
My Enemies Are Plotting. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she raps a little bit on the side, and she thought she'd break one down since her enemies are plotting.
Yeah. Star, if you need a beat, hit me up, okay?
That's right. Yeah. Hey, we'll tweet at her, okay? Yeah. Godfather Joe says Mary. I say at this point I was like, it's going to be Mary, right? Whatever Joe says. And,
I figured it was Star.
And Mary says, my social game's pretty good out here with these people, but it ain't working. It ain't hitting.
Yeah.
And it ain't slapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, which, you know.
Well, and Mary's just throwing Hail Marys.
Oh,
She's
Hail
saying,
Marys. Yeah, for
you
sure.
Know, keep me one more day. Use me for whatever you got.
And that's what you do.
Yes. Star's just like, I ain't giving up. You know, which is a great, that's the athlete in her.
Right.
And I have to commend that.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
You can't just, wish in one hand and shit in the other at a tribal council.
No.
You got to get your shit together.
Exactly.
And say, what are we going to do? And the votes even were like, it was all, remind me, it was all Mary and Star, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hope Mary can find a crack. Because I'm Mary. I've said it when Mary played my games with Say.
Yeah,
that's and I hope
even preseason I was like, that's my pick. Yeah, Mary's my pick.
You did. Well, and I hated how Joe kind of did jury management, which Joe's Mary's smarter than that.
Right.
Yeah. And she even says that, like, I know what you're doing, buddy. You're not going to talk to me and then me give you $1 million. That's not what's going to happen.
Right.
And so we get to Tribal, by the way. We're at Tribal. David is pissed.
Oh yeah. Well, I said he never looks like he looks like he never left the island, even though he's shaven. He's got the same black tank top on that he had on the island, and he comes in and he's like ice grilling him, and it reminded me of Blue Steel from Zoolander because he's just like,
yeah, there it is. Is it Blue Steel or Magnum?
I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. So, and then Star calls Jeff Uncle JP, which is a new one,
Love it.
And
Jeff eats that shit up.
Oh
too,
yeah,
man.
for sure. And she says she's being told to play her shot in the dark, but she's not.
Which that's good for Mary,
right? I mean, yeah, for sure.
And Mitch just flat out, was it Mitch? Yeah, it was Mitch. Star is yelling at Mitch because apparently Mitch falls asleep in 3 seconds and snores his ass off all night. And she's yelling at Mitch, please wait for us to go to sleep. And Mitch says, well, y'all need to go to sleep a little bit earlier. I love Mitch as a person, but as a game player, he let me down this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mitch tells Star, you might want to play your shot in the dark, but then he don't tell her why.
Right.
He's like, I can't say. I have to have conversations. Bro, you can't drop a bomb like that and then not say, like, what have you heard? You know what I mean? Like, give her something to go on.
That could have mixed it up a little bit.
Exactly. But he chose to just, I got to have some conversations with some people.
And I see Star reaching for something as they're voting, and I'm like, oh, she's going to have something.
Yeah.
Maybe Eva gave her the idol. Right?
Nah, I didn't think that. I thought she played her shot, or she found a different idol, or something.
Sometimes they'll do that in Survivor. They won't tell you things until after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Star does not play her shot in the dark. Votes come out: Star, Mary, Star, Mary, Star, Mary, Star, Star. Goodbye, Star.
Yeah.
And she says, "Hit me where it hurts, Uncle JP."
Yeah.
Hitting me where it hurts. And
now I'll tell you this too, that's a bridge you don't burn, because that's somebody that can talk to the jury,
right, and
ruin your game.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. You think about, here's the bad thing about an alliance of 4, or a strong arm alliance, or any alliance for that matter. You vote everybody out. If there's one person not in your alliance at the end, that person very well may win $1 million, and you've done all the work to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
if
true.
Mary Kyle and Camilla make it to the end, I don't know who's going to win.
That's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up. But now if Mary, Kyle, and Camilla, if one of them are sitting with Joe and Eva, they will win. They will win this game.
For sure.
You know?
Sure.
You can strong-arm everybody. You could be the Godfather.
Yeah.
You could run. I mean, Boston Rob played 5 times and won,
right.
what, once?
Once.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that style of gameplay doesn't always work.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And we're not seeing a lot of game. I love Survivor because we're seeing gameplay from people at the bottom.
Yeah.
Star tried.
Right.
She should have done this shit 3 days ago.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
or 4 days ago when she
Yeah.
had the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why are these 6 getting together? We're 6. Let's go to Rocks.
Right.
You know, come
Yeah.
on. Let's do something to shake
mix
it up.
And I think maybe all of these people kind of like each other.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the problem.
Well, and that's Kyle, too. Kyle, there was a point about they planned to vote out Joe.
Right.
And then Kyle's like, I don't know if I can do that because I've
Right.
shared stuff with Joe that I've shared, you know, like,
Yeah.
and Kyle even says, Kyle or Joe, someone says this season is about emotional connections.
Yeah. Right.
That can get in the way of gameplay.
Yeah. And in the promo, right? Let's go to the promo.
Okay.
The first line of the promo, Kyle says, every single path hurts people.
Yep.
And if he didn't see that one coming,
Yeah, really. Where you been?
Where you been?
Yeah.
Because when you're playing both sides like he's been
Yeah.
the entire game, he's going to hurt somebody.
Yeah. And it's amazing he's got this far being in the middle and no one's called him out.
Right.
I'm surprised.
He hasn't been caught.
I'm so surprised.
He has not been caught or called out by either side. And that's
well,
why.
and even
David called him out and Mary, but nobody listened.
And Joe even talked to Mary and told her, you know, everybody thought you were whispering in David's ear and all
Right.
that. And,
Yeah.
You know, Mary's like, what the hell? You know, no. Like, but here's the thing, too. Kyle, he's a great player and he's stuck in the middle. You can only be in the middle for so long.
Right. Yeah.
You
got to pick a side.
And I love that Camilla said, I'll do all the dirty work. You don't have to. You know why she said that? Because that's her resume, baby.
That's her resume.
That's her resume.
And that's how she wins.
Kyle can't say, oh, I did this, this, and this.
Right.
Camilla, no, actually, I did this because you couldn't bloody your hands.
Yeah. So in the promo, Mary says, I have one more trick up my sleeve.
Oh, yes.
So let's hope.
Yes, let's hope. Come on, Mary.
And
you got this, man.
Star, of course, spitting some bars. It's time to go at the end. And I saw a Star tweet, right?
Yeah.
She said, somebody call Thomas. I need my record deal.
He wouldn't give it to you.
No, I don't think so.
No. Oh, he'd give it to you. It'd be a 360 deal where at the end of your tour and you sold all your merch, you'd owe him $2 million.
Yeah, you'd be broke as a joke.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have, Mr. Church. You got anything else?
I'm looking forward to seeing what Mary pulls out and Camilla pulls out next episode.
Yeah.
I'm hoping next episode will bring life back to this show because it was stagnant episode.
Yeah,
this past episode was stagnant.
I started to see what people were talking about when they were saying they didn't like this season. Yeah. Right? Because I was anticipating some fireworks at this point.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
why I was in this season. I was like, hey,
that's how it's been.
this is going to be a good season, y'all. You'll just it's going forward and this and it's slow burn.
There. Yeah.
Right. And I was very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I know, really it hinged on one guy and I hate to harp on that.
Yeah.
And he's getting a lot of heat online.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, he blew his game.
He blew it.
He blew it.
He blew it.
He's made no big moves.
Seemingly.
He's done,
right?
Yeah, he's
a
nice guy.
He may do something here moving forward, but I don't know.
He's a nice guy, but Rupert was a nice guy, and he didn't win. He won people's vote, but
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't be a nice guy and win this game.
No, you can't.
You got to stab somebody in the back.
You really can't.
You have to.
That's the design of the game.
Yeah, and it's not even for permanently. It might be just for one vote.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, bro, I know we're bros, but I had to do it. I got to do it.
I had to do it. And then you have to look in that person's face and tell them why when they ask you.
The damage control.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing a lot of that.
No.
After the tribal, we see Eva talk to, Mary, and just like you said, tell her, like, I'll let you know if your name's floating out, but I'm not helping you.
Right.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
that's, and that's the way Survivor was played for a long time.
It is. We're seeing old Survivor played out right now. Right. And in, season 48, we don't want that.
Right.
If I wanted that, I'd watch the Spider, Jerry. You know what I mean? Like, I'll pull up Paramount Plus and just go, okay, let's watch a group of 7 wipe out everybody.
Right.
You know.
For 39 days.
Yeah, really.
Right?
But
so, all right, that's about all we got. The holler has spoken, y'all.
God bless you, baby.